Yo, Cleverlike here to tell you about the amazing new capabilities of Blockbench version 1.10. This is called the Bedrock Update. It's called the Bedrock Update because you can create Bedrock entities lickety-split. No kidding. This new update is amazing. What I'm going to do in this video is give you a speed run type footage of me creating a custom entity in Minecraft. We're going to start from all the way from downloading the resource pack all the way to bringing our mob inside of Minecraft right here in this video. So let's get started. If you'd like more detailed information on this process, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/cleverlike or go to www.cleverlike.com for more in-depth training. So let's get on with it. First thing we need to do is download our add-on resource pack. So from the Minecraft.net website, go to add-ons, scroll down, and click resource pack to download the resource pack. Once that's downloaded, what we're going to need to do is extract it into a folder. So we're going to right-click, extract all, and I'm going to change it from the downloads folder to the desktop. This zip file has over 3,700 files in it. These are all the customizations that you can make inside of a resource pack. So creating your own Minecraft add-on resource packs is super awesome, also a lot of work. We're focusing on creating custom entities today in this video. Okay, once that's extracted, we could start to customize it. So first thing we need to do is customize our manifest file. So the manifest file is a code file that we could use something like Microsoft Visual Studio Code or use your favorite code editor to modify. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give our resource pack a name, right? And then we're going to make a creeper into a jogger today, I just decided. Right? So next thing we need to do after we change the names is we need to create a UUID. My software has a UUID generator built into it, so it was an add-on it was an extension that I added, so I can customize UUIDs with a simple keystroke. One of the things you can do if you don't have one built into your editor, you can go to the website uuidgenerator.net, and then every time you hit refresh, it'll generate a new UUID for you to download and for you to copy and paste into your program. Okay, so now I'm going to save that. Now I'm on the makings of my own custom resource pack. So the next thing I need to do is I need to start to model my entity the way that I want it. So what I'm going to do is launch Blockbench. This is the new version 1.10, the Bedrock update. This is awesome. One way you can tell what version you have is by checking the updates. It'll show you the latest version you have running. So I'm going to go into our resource pack and I'm going to edit the mobs.json file. And you can see here I've got all of the different entities that are customizable right here in this file. So I'm going to double click the creeper or click it and import it. Now in Blockbench I could use my scroll wheel to zoom in and out. I'm using my left mouse button to move my workspace around. I could use the right mouse button to actually slide it, and the left mouse button rotates it. And now you can see I've got my creeper here ready to be customized. On the right hand side we have an outliner. The outliner shows all the bones that are making up your entity and then the cubes that are inside those bones. So picture the bone as kind of like the invisible structure that the cubes are mounted to essentially. So all of these different cubes, like the body is here, and then you could see the legs. This cube is leg 0. This cube is leg 1, and so on. So what we could do now is start to customize this guy a little bit. I'm going to turn him into a jogger. So what I'm going to do is click on the body. Now we could use these icons here to change from scale mode to drag mode. So if I change to scale mode, you could see I have squares where I can now start to resize it. In drag mode, it allows me to move it. Okay, so you can move on all three axes by grabbing one of the handles based on that direction. So now what we're going to do is make the legs a little bit longer and give them some arms. So another way to do this is by double clicking is one way to toggle between your drag and your scale functionality. So we're going to drag this leg back here, and this leg over here is going to become the arm for that one. This is just kind of how they animate. If you look at the animation of the way the different legs animate on a creeper, you could see this would be kind of a way to make that work. So I'm going to push this leg here, move this one up. See how I'm grabbing those cones and just kind of resizing it. Make sure when you're working in 3D that you look at it from more than one direction to make sure that you get it right. Okay, so now I'm going to make these legs a little bit taller. Too tall. There we go. And this one a little bit taller as well. So you could see here in Blockbench, if I wanted to bring in the texture of a creeper, I could go into our resource pack, textures, entity, creeper, and pull in the creeper texture. It gets applied. So it looks kind of funny, right? Because we have been changing it. So now this looks invisible here, but it's really because on our UV, which is basically the mapping of the texture onto that cube, you could see you could drag it around and reset it. It is now too big because we made the legs too big. So I'm kind of borrowing from the body's texture to make that look workable. Okay, we're going to customize this completely anyway, but you get the idea of how that works. So next thing we need to do is change the rotation because the arms and legs move. So one thing we'll want to do is click on the actual bone itself, and that brings up the rotation setting. So you can see here this kind of, that's the Y rotation. We don't want that. Let's put that back. Let's change it to the X axis and then do it this way. That does not look natural. That's a dislocated shoulder right there. So one of the things we're going to do is change our pivot location. So in that, you could see our pivot is set right here. So one of the things we can do is kind of hide the body, and we can start to change the pivot location. Let's see, where is that? There it is. You see where that little plus is in the background, that little multicolored plus? That is our pivot anchor point, basically. So we're going to set that. Looks like we didn't fix the rotation on that shoulder. I'll take care of that though. Alright, and oops. And bring it down there. Okay, so that looks pretty close. One of the things we can do to customize the rotation in more detail without the slider is click on the rotation. And you can see I have the Y, so this is X, Y, and Z, and you can see here we have that set. And now if I were to move this on the X axis, which is how it normally animates, you could see that that looks a little better. Okay, there we go. So let's do the same thing for the other ones. Real quick here, click on the leg, and we're going to get that. There it is. Now the other thing you could do is click and slide on this. So like, let's see if I go over to this guy. If I click here and slide left or right, I can change the setting that way as well. So that looks like that's going to work. Let's go to the legs, do the same thing down here. Okay. And alright, knock that down. And which leg was that? This leg here? Yeah, okay. So let's go. There we go. And so there's that leg. That looks good. And last one. Let's get this guy changed here. close are we? Alright, drop that down, and you see this is easier since I decided to hide the body. It would be a lot harder with the body visible, it would get in the way. But you can hide the body with simply clicking this eye, and now we've got this guy ready to go as well. So let's go ahead and set that. Okay, so we've got our structure here. One of the things I want to do is I want to create some arms. I want to show you what it takes to basically add extra cubes, extra structure things, customize things however you choose. So I'm going to make these, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to add a cube. You can see sometimes it adds the cube down to the bottom here. You can click and hold and then drag it up to the object you want to add it to, and now it's part of this leg 1. So let's go back to our drag and then pull this guy out. You see how it shows up gray right now? That's because our UV is mapped to this corner area that's gray. If I want to make it visible for now, I could just drag it over to somewhere in the green, and you can see now that it's visible. Let's bring that up. So you see how simple this interface is on Blockbench? What a great job they did on making this program so usable, easy to use. I'm going to double click this guy and make that a little bit shorter, maybe like that. And then this guy, I'm going to fill in that space. All right. And then let's bring it out like that. So now we have an arm on this guy. And so like I said before, the rotation is going to now move both of the cubes that are part of that arm, because they are, both cubes belong to that arm. So we'll do the same thing over on this guy here. Alright. And you see that if I have the actual bone selected and I click Add Cube, it'll drop it into that actual bone. If I have another cube selected, it'll throw it down to the bottom. So that's one quick way to notice what's going on there. Again, we're going to change our UV mapping to make it a little more visible and bring this guy up. And again, you could zoom in. See how that starts to get crooked when I zoom? If I right click and drag, I could bring it back over into view. So don't let it be awkward. Go ahead and move things around so that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And see that? We can customize that, get a good look at everything, make sure it's all lining up properly. Boom. Okay, there is our creeper with arms. Let's go back to this bone here and then rotate these guys. Okay, that looks good. Oh, uppercut, uppercut, uppercut. Okay, fighting creeper. That's for another day. This one is just going to kind of have the same creeper behavior here, and to make things easier, I'll change this rotation to 0. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out with my scroll wheel, and it looks like we are pretty much ready to customize this guy. So what I'm going to do now is File, Export, Bedrock Entity, and where I'm going to put this entity is into a program folder. So we should, one of the things you're going to have to download is the Cleverlike entity texture template generator. Since we have a new model, we need a new texture for it, and I have a way of doing that. So if you download this generator, it's going to create if you extract it into your C drive, for instance, it'll create these folders. Source, I'm going to call this creeper jogger, and it has saved that model into that folder. So I'm going to show you what that program does now by creating a template texture for us. So if I go into my C drive, launch this program, and you see here it's going to check that source folder for any JSON files, and it's going to list them. So we have mobs.json, which has a bunch of entities in it, or just the creeper jogger one that has our entity in it. So I hit 1, hit enter, and then it's going to basically list all the entities available, which is just that one. So I'm going to hit that, enter. And now what it's done is created a custom skin for us that's a template that matches the entity that we just designed. So there we go. We have our entity model, which has been updated to match the skin. So let's go ahead and open those up in Blockbench. So I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to open the results folder, not the source folder, but the results folder. I'll discard my settings there, import the creeper. So there's my model, and now I'm going to add the texture. So back into that program, results folder, jogger, open, boom. And this is the beauty of the template generator. It'll give you a template that matches your model. So green is the front facing side, red is the right, and they both start with R. Blue is the back, both start with B. Yellow, I couldn't think of a color that started with L, so I picked the color that has two L's in it. So you could visually see the different colors. Then obviously white will be the top, and then black will be the bottom. So now in our template file, we know exactly what we're editing and where, so we can design something very quickly. So let's go ahead into our graphics program and edit that. I'm going to use GIMP because it's free. I don't normally use GIMP. I normally use Photoshop, which I'm more familiar with, but I'm going to use GIMP so that you guys can follow along. So now I'm going to go File, Open, and I am going to look at the C folder, results. I'll edit this creeper jogger PNG. There it is. Okay, I'll change the zoom to 1000. We zoom in on it, and now we've got, let's see, our file here. So the way this is laid out is pretty smart. We have each row is its own bone, basically. So you can see over here, the body is in the top row, the first one, and then the next row is the head, and then leg 0 is the next one. So you could see that we have the smaller cube, like leg 0. This is the first, so the shoulder is the first one, and then the arm, the longer arm, is the second one. And on the next leg, you've got leg 1, which this is your first one, and then the second one is the shoulder. So we just have them kind of switched, but that's the order in which they show up. So you can come back and match it. And obviously this is going to be for the bottom two legs. Alright, so that is how we know what we're editing. So we go into here, and let's say we're going to change the body. First thing you should do is create a new layer. So do all your work on a new layer. This way you won't disturb your template. You can go back and look at your template from time to time and see what you've got. So let's go ahead here, and I want to select this guy. Just select the body, and then I'll pick the paint fill tool, and then we'll pick a green color. Let's pick an obnoxious green, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill all of it in. Before I do that, actually, I want to make sure to have, I'm going to do a collar or something like that on the shirt. So before I kind of bury everything in there, I want to do let's use the pencil tool, and there we go. And we could do the same thing for the back to make sure that matches up. Alright, and now I'm comfortable, I think, filling in the rest. You got to change the color. I'm going to change the color back over here. There we go. Alright, so now we have kind of an obnoxious shirt, and the black is the bottom there, so let's just go ahead and make that dark. Okay, and the top, we could do something like this for the top. Kind of extend that collar back to from front to back. Okay, so that's our shirt, our body, and now we have our head. So let's go ahead and to the next layer. See this, by doing this selection, it allows me to prevent from drawing. If I click there, I can't draw in other areas. It keeps it contained. So now I'm going to do the same thing over here with the head. So let's do some quick, let's do some eyes real quick. We'll start with the other objects and then we'll just fill it in with the color. So go here, there's some eyes, and then maybe an unamused face. There you go. And then we could start to tweak this a little bit. You make things a little bit darker, and you know, do that. Make things darker yet, and there you go. And let's go ahead now that we've done that part, let's go ahead and fill in the necessary parts with the bright green that we had earlier. Say okay. So we'll just make his whole head bright green, filling everything in just like that. And now, like, if you want to give him, since he's a jogger, if you want to give him a headband, one of the things you can do is kind of like fill it in like this, and then what do we use? Like a paintbrush maybe. Pick some white. You can see there, it's coming. It's coming. There. Alright. Alright, good enough. So now he's got a little headband. Now let's talk about the arms. Okay, so we have our little sleeve. Let's go take a look at that again here. If we were to do kind of like a sleeve, we would do the bottom. The bottom of all the sides would be like maybe the collar for the sleeve there, and make the rest green. So let's go ahead here. I want to select this green. Go there, and for this guy, do that, and I'm going to put the dark on the bottom. That'll separate the shirt color from the skin color. And now let's see, everything else should be obnoxious green, except this black part here. That we can leave. We might be able to leave that alone. It's going to be covered anyway, right? Because you don't really see the bottom of that cube. You see the bottom of this cube here. So probably doesn't matter what we put there. So let's just go ahead and for the heck of it, let's just make it dark green. And so one thing I can do is I can copy that. I can do Control C and then Control V to paste it, and then I can move that guy over here, and now I've got those two parts done. So now the next part would be the longer arm, and I think for the longer arm we're just going to make it like whatever, if we're going to give this guy a skin color, which is probably what we should have done over here. I wasn't really thinking about that. Let's see if we give him kind of like, I want to pick his color like this. If this is his skin color, back to up here, boom, and fill. Alright, that's kind of fun. Let's see here, what else? I like that color a little better. Alright, so that'll be the skin tone for the creeper. So let's go ahead and change the selection over here to this arm, and I'm going to fill in the same thing here, and it's just going to fill the whole thing in this time. And then I'll copy and paste and then move it over to this arm. Done. And now we just have the legs. So let's do some shorts for this guy, and then we'll get the legs figured out. So what we're going to do here, is pencil in some shorts. And so let's make this the, oops, my selection I need to change. All right, so we need to go here and change selection to that guy. All right, let me do that again. All right, so here we go, and we're gonna make some shorts. There's a line tool, but I'm steady. Here we go. We're gonna do the next color. Right, is going to be this guy, which we could fill in now. And the top there, and the bottom is going to be, we'll make that the color of the skin. So we go back to this color here, which I believe is what we made for the skin, and that's the bottom of the foot. So it's going to match this color down here. Okay, let's copy that and paste it, and now I'm going to move that guy down here. That should be good, and I need to fix that problem over here. Told you I'm not all that experienced with GIMP, but it's not awful. It's not awful. I pictured it being more awful than this, but it works. So there we go. Just click off of it. So now I've created a texture. Gosh, I hope I did a good enough job here. What do we have here? What's this gray? That's just dead space. Light gray is just dead space. If I hide this, that's the way the texture looks. So let's go ahead and export this texture. Export as. Let's export it into our resource pack. So I'll go into my resource pack, textures, entity, creeper, and then creeper.png we're going to replace with ours, and done. Okay, so we've got our texture. Now we need to put this model in place. So this model is, let's go to File, Export, Bedrock Entity, and I want to export this guy into our resource pack. Let's just do that. Right? So if I go to the resource pack, which is on my desktop, go there, go to models, and then I'm going to replace mobs.json with that, which is just the creeper that we're changing. And I'll say yes. Okay, good. So we are getting close, people. We are so close. So now what I'm going to do is go to our resource pack on the desktop and clear things out. So if you're going to publish a resource pack, you don't want to publish things that you did not change. So you don't want to publish any vanilla things. So I'm going to start deleting those. So UI, I didn't do anything with. Texts, I didn't do anything with. Sounds, I did not do anything with. Models only has our one file, so that's good. Textures, we need to get rid of the things we don't change there. So we only did entity. So get rid of everything else. And then in entity, we're going to get rid of everything else in entity that we didn't change. Okay, there's no sense kind of republishing stuff that's already part of the game. So I'm deleting that. And so you see we have just our creeper, and I'll even get rid of the charged creeper. Okay, so we are good to go. So now our resource pack has been customized. It's got the things in it that we only need. And I'm going to select those all and then right click and then say send to compressed zip folder. And this is creeper jogger, and instead of .zip we want to do .mcpack. This turns it into a resource pack. Change the extension yes. If you cannot see the extension, make sure to go to view and then file name extensions. Make sure that's checked. And now all I have to do is double click this, coming down the home stretch, play a new, we'll set up a new, oh, there we go, started importing, and successfully imported. Whew, getting excited here. Okay, create a new world, and then creeper test, we'll call it, and then I'm going to turn cheats on, and then also go to resource packs over here, and you could see our creeper jogger resource pack. We'll make sure to add that, and we'll create the world. And let's see what happens here. Wow, we're on a tree. Ow. That's not helpful. All right, so let's summon that creeper. There he is. Oh, look at him go. Look at him go. Oh. Let's take a closer look at him in creative mode. And there he is. We're moving, everything's moving together. Thank you to Blockbench version 1.10 for allowing us to do this awesome capability. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you go ahead and download that. Blockbench version 1.10, the Bedrock update. And don't forget to donate. A lot of work went into this, and it's a free program. If you find it useful, show your appreciation by making a donation. Don't forget to subscribe to youtube.com/Cleverlike or join cleverlike.com for more detailed training on things like this. Thanks for joining us, and let's see what you're going to create.